This video was created by Raymond Dalu with the help of AI in an era rife with ambition and the spirit of manifest destiny. May 9, 1846, would become etched in the tapestry of American history. President James K. Polk paced tirelessly within the confines of the White House, his heart pounding with an aggressive attitude that mirrored the ambitions of a nation poised on the brink of war. The president's mind raced with political justifications for hostilities against Mexico, driven by mounting grievances over unpaid claims and the obstinate refusal of Mexican officials to negotiate with John Slidell, the envoy sent by the United States. Yet, unbeknownst to Polk, the wheels of fate had already begun to churn. A mere battery of whispers and hurried scribbles could not change the fact that Mexican troops had crossed the Rio Grande weeks prior, initiating a violent encounter with American forces under General Zachary Taylor's command. As news of the attack flared into existence, reaching Polk's ears that very evening, his plans for a war message abruptly shifted. The blood of 16 American soldiers had been spilled, igniting a flame within him that would soon sweep across Congress. On May 11, holding a document laden with sentiment and urgency, Polk addressed Congress with an assertion that would rally a divided nation. Mexicans had invaded our territory and shed American blood on American soil, he declared, his words echoing off the marble pillars as if they were the very drums of war. The declaration, however, only deepened the rift within the halls of power. Within this volatile landscape, a figure emerged who would epitomize dissent: Abraham Lincoln. A freshman congressman from Illinois, he stood not in blind acquiescence to Polk's earnest tones, but rather as a vigilant guardian of truth. Soon after, he would introduce his spot resolutions, a series of pointed inquiries that sought to establish the legitimacy of the grounds on which the war was initiated. What was the true location of the bloodshed? Was it, indeed, American soil? These questions stirred a symphony of discontent in a chamber filled with both fervent supporters and vociferous detractors. The declaration of war passed Congress on May 13, to the enthusiastic approval of many Democrats, particularly in the Southwest. Yet for every cheer of approval, there were resigned gasps of disbelief from the Whigs, who viewed Polk's maneuvers as nothing more than a cover for land grabs, a conquest veiled in the shroud of democracy. As war raged across the pages of newspapers, heated debates tinged with accusations of treason resonated through the corridors of power. Polk responded with accusations aimed at his critics, firmly entrenched in his belief that the war served a greater purpose. Meanwhile, the cry of dissent was not confined to Congress. Outside its hallowed walls, an outcry echoed through the streets, resonating with the conviction of abolitionists like Henry David Thoreau. Convinced the war was a pretext for the South to expand slavery into newly acquired territories, Thoreau refused to pay poll taxes as an act of defiance. His imprisonment, though brief, birthed a resonant ideological treatise in his essay, Civil Disobedience. Within those words was a manifesto against inaction. Let your life be a counter-friction to stop the machine. As the American army surged into Mexican territory, battles erupted like gunpowder igniting in the dry air. Generals Taylor and Scott orchestrated campaigns that swept through cities and landscapes that had reverberated with the echoes of history. Lands were captured, but not without dissent. Civilians, caught in the crossfire, watched their homes become battlegrounds. And amidst the clamor of cannons and musket fire, the inherent tension of a nation divided persisted. Then there was Santa Anna, the formidable general whose exile had ended in a precarious return, driven not by a desire for peace but by ambition. Whispers of his intentions reached Polk, who believed he could control the winds of fate by facilitating Santa Anna's return. Yet, the general's motives twisted as he took command of the Mexican defenses. Unbeknownst to Polk, the very man he sought to help a player of further conflict. As the battles raged on, the prairies and fields of Mexico bore witness to the divergence within the American soul. War, the great revelator, unmasked both zeal and repulsion, igniting passions that would echo long after the guns fell silent. Though Polk's administration strove for expansion, voices like Lincoln's and Thoreau's forged a counter-narrative, a call to conscience. In the years that followed, the Mexican-American War would come to symbolize more than territorial gains. It became a crucible of ethical reflection. The clash of battle would yield to the chorus of dissent, shaping the landscape of future USA identity, an echo of past and future conflict.